Okay, good morning, Lucy. How are you? Greetings from Toronto, Canada today.
Hi, how are you? I'm really well,
I'm
thanks.
I'm fantastic. Oh my goodness, you are so amazing in this series. I was riveted for the entire thing. I sat through and
Thank
binged the whole
you.
thing. I have to
Thank
ask
you.
you, let's start off by asking you this. Did you know anything about Ruth Ellis before you even started? Was she on your radar at all?
She wasn't, to my shame, and it is a kind of yeah, a real shame that she's not more kind of broadly spoken about, considering what a tremendous impact this case had on our judicial system.
Yeah.
And she's a fascinating historical figure. So it is just the kind of the way that so many women's stories do get neglected from the history books that is the reason that I was less familiar with her.
Yeah, and then you get the role. It's based on this book. Then obviously start diving into who she was, what she was all about to play her so well. Did you feel that you needed to read the book, or was it more just on the scripts and the information that you were given about her?
The book was became my Bible. I mean, I tried to read as broadly as possible, just to get a kind of grasp on who she was and how she was received and kind of reported on by the
Mm,
media. But then, as soon as I read the book, it's so well researched. It's such a vivid read and gives such good context to the landscape of the 1950s and post-war London and how that shaped a woman like Ruth Ellis. And so it was, yeah, absolutely fascinating.
to me, this seems like a bit of a challenge, I would think, to play a woman like this. Here's a woman who, no spoilers here. She shoots the man who was abusing her, yet internally she feels like, I did it. I deserve this. How do you mentally prepare to pay a woman like this? I mean, nobody should kill anybody. Let's just go there. But you know what I'm saying? Like what she went through, can you blame the woman?
Totally. And I think I started this process naively trying to be analytical about it, thinking that if I could pull back on my own feelings, which I think I usually do approach playing real people with,
Yes.
go analysis first, don't let my own kind of unconscious bias or instincts color how I see them. It was impossible not to empathize and not to feel for this woman as soon as you start reading about her childhood with her incredibly abusive father, about every partner she had who was violent and abusive to her. And so she
Yeah.
was so hardened by how much she had been put through that she did become very pragmatic and thought that that she could handle anything because she had to.
Mm.
And so I think by that point, she was really adamant that she was of sound mind when she did it. As we'll see in the series, there are certain people who were never held accountable, but who are kind of should have been on trial with her.
Yeah.
And that's the first time, this is really being explored because so much of this information was held from the public. And so it was, yeah, it was incredibly affecting. And you do empathize with her. Had David Blakely ever been held accountable for his actions, there would be no Ruth Ellis case to talk about.
Right. And clearly, as we know, she was the last person to be hanged in Britain. And then, laws changed and everything. But what did Lucy, after playing a woman like this, I can't imagine that it didn't impact you. Actors play roles and yeah, okay, wrap, bye-bye. But this one, I don't know, was it hard? Not hard to say goodbye to her, but just how did she kind of touch you and maybe change you and think about things?
I've been completely changed by this project, and it
Hmm.
affected me in a way that I couldn't have anticipated or prepared for. I think I prepared myself for the heaviness of some of those scenes, but I think the thing that really got into my bones was the fact that it was a true story, that this is
Right.
a real. So I am in a very safe environment, experiencing a minutia of the reality of it, and it was horrendous to film. And so that was just a glimpse at what she experienced, and that kind of illuminating process was devastating, and even more so to understand that it's still happening. It's still very
Right.
much a present tense issue, and it is getting worse year by year. Domestic violence has been declared a national crisis in the UK. It's
Yeah.
an epidemic, and it's very similar here in the US.
Yes.
And we're very desensitized to it for some reason. So So it was a
Yeah.
really affecting role. It's still very much stayed with me.
Yeah, I can imagine. And yeah, and as you say, I mean, you're right. It's all over the world, not just US and UK, here in Canada, sadly,
Mm.
everywhere, I hope it just does bring some light people, something happens from it. Just to wrap it up, you have a great cast in this, but to work opposite Toby Jones, I mean, come on,
I
right?
know. Honestly, he's just a gift of a scene partner. He's such an extraordinary actor. This is the second time I've been lucky enough to work with him.
Yes.
And so it's just such a privilege to work with someone that you trust so completely and whose work and work ethic you respect so much, because it means there's such a great barometer for quality. I felt so safe in those scenes with him, and getting to kind of dissect the material and find the best way to service it, and then do the dial turnings of what we need to offer the audience more of, more
Yeah.
insight or slightly less. It was just, yeah, it's a joy to get to work with someone like Toby Jones. I'm
Yeah.
so chuffed with our casting director, Sam Jones, for the gift that is Toby Jones.
Well, you're just going to have to keep working with them there. There's just
I
no
know.
question, right?
Please and
Just
thank you.
got to be in your new contract all the time. Toby
Exactly.
Jones all the time. I
Exactly.
want to ask you, I just love watching you on screen. You've been in so many amazing things, great roles when you worked with Rami in Bohemian Rhapsody. I love that relationship with the two of you. And it was so great. What now compels you when you get a script, Lucy? Like, is there some specific, thing that you look for? Is it the character? Is it the director? Is it the co-stars? Or is it just everything? What makes you want to do a project?
I think first and foremost, it's the writing, because good writing really immediately kind of has you by the heart, because you recognize humanity and you recognize this feeling that you are dropping into a character's life. Great writing makes you feel that there's a before and after that you're just getting a kind of glimpse
Mm,
into, and that's so satisfying. And I think yeah, I think therefore then the scope from there is obviously the director and the team who are creating it. That's so vital in terms of how it's that shared vision, and also just the experience of what it will be like filming. And I think again, this project has really changed me. It's
mm.
made me really want to look for more stories, more women's stories that have been neglected in the history books.
Yeah, telling true stories. I so agree
Yeah,
with you. It is so important. Well, Lucy, always a joy to talk to you. You are, like I said, I cannot wait for people to see this on Britbox. You are so
thank you.
fantastic. And thank you so much for your time this morning. Really
Thank
appreciate
you
it. Thank
so
you.
much.
You're,
Thank you.
you're very welcome. Come back and visit us in Toronto sometimes, okay?
Thank you. I would love to.
All right, it's a date. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
See you soon. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.